Good day, everyone. My name is Fasi Lorenzo, and we will be talking about the Module 4 under subject Pre-Calculus. And Module 4 has two lessons. We have the first lesson, which is the mathematical induction, and the second lesson is all about the binomial theorem. So, for lesson 1, we have the mathematical induction. And what is mathematical induction? According to the definition, mathematical induction is a method for proving that a property defined for integers is true for all values that are greater than or equal to some initial integer. So mathematical induction is used to prove a certain formula and validate if the given formula is correct and true. Okay, so let's have an example. Here we have the series P sub n having the terms 1 plus 3 plus 5 plus 2n minus 1 is equal to n squared. Now we need to prove that the formula is correct. Here we have the terms of our sequence, which is the number 1, and we have also here 3, and we have also here number 5. And these are what we call the terms of your sequence. Okay, we also have here 2n minus 1. 2n minus 1 is what we call the rule of the sequence. When we say this is the rule of the sequence, this is the formula we try to use to get the value of the next preceding terms of your sequence. And n square is what we call the formula for the series. And n stands for the number of terms of your sequence. For example, if you have n is equal to 3, so meaning you will be adding 1 plus 3 plus 5 because 5 is your third term. Let's try to prove the series. Okay, so we have two ways to prove the series. Number one here is the verification method. Okay, when we say verification method, we will try to substitute the values for n and try to solve for the given problem. For example, we know that p sub 1 having having a first term which is 1, right? So meaning if p sub 1 is equal to 1, then this is your first term, which is n is equal to 1. And by the formula, if you try to substitute the value of n here, which is n is equal to 1 to n square, so n square will become 1 square. And we know that 1 square is just equal to 1. And if you try to add 1 to itself, since this is given only the first term, so the value is just equal to 1 itself. Okay, what if we have the second term, which is p sub 2? So p sub 2 is your second term, and the value of your second term is 3. Okay? So now, the value of n here is 2 because we are talking about your second term. Then if we try to get the value of n square, substituting the value of n is equal to 2 to n square, we have n square is equal to 2 square. But also notice that 2 square is just equal to 4. And according to the sequence, if you try to add the first term and the second term, 1 plus 3 is just equal to 4. Okay? So we have two terms for n is equal to 2. And if you try to add them, the answer is 4. And if you try to substitute the formula, or to the formula, the value of n, which is equal to 2, then 2 squared is equal to 4. Let's have the third term. So p sub 3 is equal to 5. And if p sub 3 is equal to 5, we know that n is equal to 3 because this is your third term. Now, we will substitute the value of n is equal to 3 to n squared. So this is n squared is equal to 3 squared. And we know that 3 squared is equal to 9. And if we have p sub 3, and if we try to add the first term, the second term, and the third term, 1 plus 3 plus 5 is also equal to 9. Okay? So we have the same answers for having the formula when we try to substitute the number of terms given and if you try to add them manually. So we can conclude by verification method that the formula is valid. But we have also to prove it using the induction method. Okay? So using the induction method, we know that the given is P sub n, which is equal to 1 plus 3 plus 5, and we have the ellipsis plus 2n minus 1, which is the rule of your sequence. Okay? 2n minus 1, which is the rule of your sequence. And this is equal to n squared. Notice that the formula or the series given has a common difference of 2 for each of the terms of the sequence. So we use the mathematical induction. Mathematical induction to prove that this will work for any values of n. So we know that the difference of your second term to your first term is 2. So 3 minus 1 is 2, right? And the second term to the third term, if we try to subtract the third term by the second term, 5 minus 3 is 2 also. So they have the common difference. So if you try to add 2n minus 1, since this is your last term, by 2, so meaning the sequence will continue to have another value. So 2n minus 1 plus 2 is just 2n plus 1 because negative 1 plus 2 is positive 1. Now, if we try to add the last term together with the value that we obtain, if we try to add it by its common difference, we have 1 plus 3 plus 5, and we have the ellipsis plus 2n minus 1. Since we have another value for your term, which is 2n plus 1, which is equal to n squared. But we know that if we try to add 2n plus 1 to the left side, for the equality to hold, we also need to add 2n plus 1. So this is 2n plus 1. Okay? So we just added 2n plus 1 to the both sides for the equality to hold. Now, we know that n squared plus 2n plus 1 is just n plus 1 squared. Okay? By factoring out. Okay? So by factoring, n squared plus 2n plus 1 is just equal to n plus 1 squared. Now, let's have an example. So for example, okay, so let's just make it more simpler. For example, if n is equal to 3, so you have 1 plus 3 plus 5, right? So this is equal to 3 squared because this is already n squared. 1 plus 3 plus 5, since these are three terms, then we have also 3 squared since n is equal to 3. So 1 plus 3, that is 4, and 4 plus 5, that is 9. And what is 3 squared? We know that 3 squared is 9 also. So meaning, the formula holds for this one. What if we try to add another values for the term, for your fourth term? Okay, we know that the next term after 5 is 7 because 5 plus 2 is 7. Okay, let's have 1 plus 3 plus 5 plus 7, right? So this is what we call adding the terms having four sequences. So we know that we have here 3, and we try to add another term which is plus 1 raised to 2 because we add another term. So that's why n will be added also by 1. So 1 plus 3 is 4, and 4 plus 5 is 9, and 9 plus 7 is 16. Okay? So we know that 3 plus 1 is 4. And what is 4 squared? So 4 times 4 is also equal to 16. Okay? So notice that n plus 1 squared is just equal to n squared plus 2n plus 1. So you have already proved that the formula holds for any cases and for any values for n. Okay? So this is your mathematical induction. Next, we move for lesson 2, the binomial theorem. So the binomial theorem is used to expand a binomial having a large amount of exponent. For example, if you have x plus y quantity, and if you try to raise it to 10 or 20, then you can use the binomial theorem to expand the given expression. So again, that is the quantity of x plus y raised to n, and n is any other exponents. Okay, for binomial theorem, for a positive integer n, we have the quantity of x plus y raised to n is equal to n factorial divided by 0 factorial multiplied by n minus 0 factorial x raised to n plus n factorial divided by 1 factorial times n minus 1 factorial. So this should be factorial, okay? And this also be factorial. Multiplied by x raised to n minus 1 times y raised to 1 plus n factorial divided by 2 factorial times n minus, okay, if this is n minus 1, this should be n minus 2 factorial times x raised to n minus 2 times y raised to 2 plus the ellipsis until you reach your last term, which is n factorial divided by n factorial multiplied by 0 factorial, then y raised to n, which is your last term. Okay, can also be expressed using the summation notation, which is x, or the quantity of x plus y raised to n. We have the summation of n factorial divided by k factorial multiplied by n minus k factorial multiplied by x minus x raised to n minus k times y raised to k. From k is equal to 0 and up to your upper bound, which is n. Okay? Or you can also use the concept of combination. So we have here n taken k. The summation of n taken k times x raised to n minus k times y raised to k, where k is equal to 0 up to your upper bound, which is n. Okay? So we will try to use this formula to prove for the following given expression. For example, if you want to expand a binomial or a certain binomial, you will be using the binomial theorem. Okay, so here is an example, 2x minus y raised to 4. We will try to use here the summation notation, having the concept of the combination. So we know that this is x plus y, or this is in the form of the quantity of x plus y raised to n, and this is equal to the summation of n taken k times x raised to n minus k, y raised to k, where k is equal to 0 and your upper bound is n. Okay, so now this could be written as 2x minus y raised to 4. So meaning, if this is the degree, or this is the exponent that we will be trying to expand, then we have the summation for k is equal to 0 and n is just equal to 4. So this is 4 taken k. So k varies from 0 to 4. We have the value of x, and the value of x here is 2x. And the value of your y here is negative y. So we will try to substitute for x, which is 2x, raised to 4, okay, raised to 4 minus k And this is negative y raised to k. Okay? By using the concept of combination, this will become 4 taken 0. Then you have 2x raised to 4. And you have negative y raised to 0. Okay? So, n and k will be equal to your exponents from your first term to your second term. Okay? For your first term here, from your binomial, 4 is the exponent of your first term, and 0 is the exponent of your second term. So we need to add them because this is in the concept of summation. Plus 4 taken 1 multiplied by 2x. Since this is already 4, then we will try to decrease by 1. So this is already 3. And negative y will raise to 1. Okay? So just remember that n and k is just equal for the values of your exponents for x and y, which is 2x and negative y. Plus 4 taken 2 multiplied by 2x square times negative y square plus 4 taken 3 multiplied by 2x raised to 1 times negative y raised to 3. And we have 4 taken 4 multiplied by 2x raised to 0. Then we have negative y raised to 4. Now, we know that the combination stands for the factorials. And 4 taken 0 is just equal to 4 factorial divided by 0 factorial times 4 minus 0 factorial. And if we try to simplify, 4 factorial, and we know that 0 factorial is just equal to 1, and 4 minus 0 is just equal to 4, and we have 4 factorial. And if we try to multiply 1 by 4 factorial, then we will be having a value for 4 factorial divided by 4 factorial. Then we will try to cancel 4 factorial. So the answer is 1, okay? So the answer here is 1. So this is 1 multiplied by the quantity of 2x raised to 4. And we know that 2 raised to 4 is 16. And x raised to 4 is just x raised to 4. And negative y raised to 0 is just equal to positive 1. So meaning, negative y raised to 0 is just equal to 1. And 1 times 1 is 1. So we just don't need to write the value for 1. Plus 4 taken 1. So what is 4 taken 1? Okay, let's try. Okay, let me just erase this one. So we have 4 factorial, or 4 taken 1. Okay, for 4 taken 1, so this is 4 taken 1. This is 4 factorial divided by 1 factorial times 4 minus 1 factorial, that's already 3 factorial, right? Then if we try to multiply this one or expand the factorials for 4 factorial, we have 4 times 3 factorial. And we know that 1 factorial times 3 factorial is just 3 factorial. And 3 factorial divided by 3 factorial, then we have a value for 4. Okay? So this is how you simplify the factorials in terms of combination. Now we also have here 4 multiplied by 2x cubed. We know that 2 raised to 3 is 8 and x raised to 3 is x cubed multiplied by the value of negative y raised to 1. And we know that negative y raised to 1 is just negative y. Okay? Plus, we have 4 taken 2. So, if we try to change this one. It's okay. Let's have 4 taken 2 for your third term. So, this is 4 taken 2. 4 taken 2 is just equal to 4 factorial divided by 2 factorial. And this is also 4 minus 2. So, that is 2. 2 factorial. Okay? So we have 2 factorial multiplied by 2 factorial. And by simplifying this, we have 4 times 3 times 2 factorial divided by 2 factorial times 2 factorial. So we can cancel 2 factorial here. And what remains is 4 times 3 times 2. 4, or rather 4 times 3 only, because we already canceled 2 factorial. 4 times 3 divided by 2 factorial. And 2 factorial stands for 2 times 1. So 4 times 3 is 12. And 2 times 1 is 2. So meaning 12 divided by 2 is positive 6. Okay? So 4 taken 2 has a value for 6. And we have 2x squared. And 2x squared is just 2 times 2, that is 4. And x times x, that is x squared. Multiplied with the value of negative y squared. We know that if we try to multiply negative by negative, this is positive. So this will become positive y squared. Plus, we have the value for 4 taken 3. So what is the value of 4 taken 3? Okay, if we try to simplify the following using the concept of factorials, using the formula for combination, we have 4 taken 3. So 4 taken 3 is 4 factorial divided by 3 factorial multiplied with the value of 4 minus 3 factorial. So we know that 4 minus 3 is just 1 factorial. So this is equal to 4 times 3 factorial. And we know that 4 minus 3 is already 1 factorial. So we don't need to write 1 factorial because that's already 1. So we have here 3 factorial. So we need to cancel 3 factorial because the numerator and denominator are the same for 3 factorial. So now this is just equal to 4. So 4 taken 3 is just equal to 4. And we have here the value of 2x. And we have also here the value of negative y raised to 3. So meaning this is still negative because your exponent is an odd number. And what is 4 taken 4? Okay, if you try to solve for 4 taken 4, we have 4 factorial divided by 4 factorial times 4 minus 4 factorial, and 0 factorial is just also equal to 1. And we need to cancel 4 factorial, and 0 factorial again is equal to 1. So you don't need to write. So if you try to cancel everything on the numerator and on the denominator, we will be having a value for 1. Okay, so we don't need to write 4 taken 4 because this is just only 1. And 2x raised to 0 is just also equal to 1 because of the laws of exponents. Any basis raised to 0 is just equal to 1. And we have negative y raised to 4. And since the exponent is an even number for negative y raised to 4, then this will become positive. Positive y raised to 4. Now, let's try to simplify. Okay, 1 times 16, that is 16. 16x raised to 4. Plus 4 times 8. What is 4 times 8? 4 times 8 is 32. And 32 times x cubed is 32x cubed. And 32x cubed times negative y, that is negative 32x cubed y. So we will need to change the positive into negative because the value of y is negative. 4 times 8 again is 32. And we have x cubed and we have y. How about for this? We have your third term, 6 times 4, that is 24. X squared. Then we try to copy the variables y squared. Plus your third term, or your fourth term rather, 4 times 2, that is 8. And 8 times x is 8x. But we have a value here of negative. So this is negative y cubed. So meaning we need to change your positive into negative because there's a negative value on your y. So this will become negative 4 times 2, that is 8. And multiplied by x and multiplied by y cubed. And we have the value for your last term, which is y raised to 4. Okay, so this is already your final answer. Okay? Okay. So as you observe here, we have how many terms? 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So if you will be having an exponent, if you try to expand a binomial, for example, x plus y raised to n, and n will try to determine the number of terms of your binomial expansion. But we will need to add 1 because we know that n here is equal to 4, but it produces 5 terms. So again, if you have an exponent and if you try to expand a binomial using that exponent, if you just try to add 1 on the exponent, then that will reproduce the number of terms of your binomial expansion. Since n is equal to 4, and that is the exponent, so if you try to add 1, then the number of terms on the binomial expansion or the result of your binomial being expanded is having a term greater than 1 from your exponent. So that is 4 plus 1 which is 5. So kindly count the number of terms for your final answer. If n is equal to 4, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So this is already your final answer by expanding the binomial having the quantity of 2x minus y raised to 4. Next, let's proceed with the nth term of the binomial expansion. Okay, so in the formula of the quantity x plus y raised to n is equal to the summation of n taken k times x raised to n minus k times y raised to k from k is equal to 0 to n. Notice that if your k is equal to 0, okay, if your k is equal to 0, then you will be getting the first term. And if your k is equal to 1, then you are leading with your second term. And if n is, or for example, if k is equal to 2, you are leading with your third term. So now, we will be trying to change the value of k to r minus 1 because the value of k is equal to 0 leads to the first term. And if you try to get the value of k, and then it will give us the additional one term from your given example. So we have here, for example, we have k. So again, if k is equal to 0, you have your first term. And if k is equal to 1, that is your second term. So we need to subtract it by 1 for us to determine the number of terms of your binomial so that it could accurately represent your values for each terms. Okay, so that is the nth term of the binomial expansion. Let's try to answer this one. Find the eighth term of 3x minus y raised to 12. Again, we will be finding the values of your eighth term. Now, this is the value of your k when using the binomial expansion, but we will use r minus 1. Why we need to use the r minus 1? This is to help us determine the exact value of the eighth term. Okay? So, without the confusion of using your binomial expansion. So, if k is equal to 8, so we need to subtract it by 1. Okay? So, this should be 8 minus 1, and this is equal to 7. And we try to use the formula for binomial expansion. So, if you try to add, or if you try to write 3x minus y raised to 12 and find the eighth term, excuse me, we need to use x. Okay? So we need to use the value of x and y. For your x, that is 3x, and your y is also equal to y. So by eighth term, we know that this is just the value for 12 taken 7. Okay? So we need to subtract it by 1. Because if we have the eighth term, then we are just getting the last preceding term of this eighth term. Okay? So that is 8 minus 1. So we have 7. And we have here, which is the value of your x, which is 3x. Okay, this should be 3x. 3x raised to the value of 7. Or we know that this is 12 minus 7. Okay, so this is 12 minus 7 raised to the value of your y, which is negative y, raised to 7. Okay, now by simplifying, 12 taken 7, this is already, for 12 taken 7, we have 12 factorial divided by 7 factorial times 7, or 12 minus 7 factorial, that is 5 factorial, right? So this will be 12 times 11 times 10 times 9 times 8 times 7 factorial divided by 7 factorial times 5 factorial. So we need to cancel 7 factorial, and we try to compute 12 times 11 times 10 times 9 times 8 divided by 5 factorial. So this will yield to the value of 100, or this will lead to the value of 792. Okay, by using your calculator. That is 792. So 12 taken 7 has a value of 792. Okay, let me just erase this one. So this is 792 multiplied by 3 raised to x, and 12 minus 7 is 5. So this is 5. Then multiply by negative y raised to 7. Since your exponent is an odd number, so we will try to remain in a negative value. So if you try to distribute the exponent from 3 and x, we have 792 times 3 raised to 5 times x raised to 5 times negative y raised to 7. And if you try to simplify 3 raised to 5 and multiply it to 792, then the value will yield to an amount of 192,456 x raised to the fifth power, and we have negative y raised to 7. Since we have a value here for negative, so this will become negative 192,456 times x raised to 5 times y raised to 7. Okay, so we don't need to write the parentheses anymore. So we try to write them as one quantity. Okay, so this is your final answer. Okay, so I hope that you understand that we need to subtract 1 from your term, which is k, because it will exactly represent the number or the exact value of your terms based on the number of terms given. Always remember that if k is equal to 0, we are talking about the first term. And if k is equal to 2, or k is equal to 0, that is the first term. K is equal to 1, that is your second term. And k is equal to 2, that is your third term. So we need to subtract it by 1 to help us give the exact value for your binomial theorem, or the terms for your binomial. Thank you very much, and I hope you understand what is written and discussed in this module. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.